here's the deal. When we've been intimate with another human being, it's very common to get attached. Doesn't mean we're capable of being in a relationship with them. It just means we're attached to them. And so when we've connected with someone, we might want to go back to the well over and over again, even if we're not capable of being in relationship with them, because we're attached to them. So I'm here to say that what's really important is, are you co-creating a relationship, or are you just winging it? This is what most of people are doing. They're winging it because they're not reading any of these books that I talk about. Look at all of these books. Ladies, before the penis gets to go inside the vagina, learn this stuff. Before you give your heart away, learn this stuff. I'm yelling because you're touching fire and you're asking yourself, well, Jonathan, but magic fairy dust will make all of this work. No, magic fairy dust doesn't make this fucking shit work. It requires you to learn how to be, what's that say? How to be an adult in relationship. And you're not going to have an adult relationship until you learn how. I promise you, read this book and you'll go, oh my God. Read this book, you'll go, oh my God. Read this book, you'll go, oh my God. Read this book and you go, oh my fucking God. That's what's going to happen when you educate yourself. And most of you are dating men and women, men or children. Let's just start with that. And many of you are just piggybacking on their child, them being children, or you're going into parental mode, which makes matters even worse. And you're not a good parent because you haven't studied for it. You're worried about the baby stroller that we talked about. All right. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you for the little super sticker. All right. Sassy writes, or let's go back to Sassy. What are your top tips for vetting the emotional availability of a man to be in a relationship? Well, I'll share what a couple of the things I shared already tonight. So one is asking him, what does commitment look like for you, and how will you know you're ready for a commitment? Number 1 and 2. Number 3, if you're open to exploring a relationship with me, are you willing to read the books that I'd like to explore, as we develop a relationship together? These are little signs that they're grown up in relationship. Most guys won't do it because they're arrogant. Let me reframe that. They're clueless, which creates arrogance, okay? And I don't mean intentional arrogance. No, not arrogance. Let me scratch that word, take it out. They're myopic. Okay? Myopic means tunnel vision because they're clueless. So you're going to have to educate men, ladies. It's going to require you educate yourself and then lead by example. What do I always say in my videos? Lead by example. But Jonathan, this is too much work. You're making it so hard. Well, when you wanted to get the dream job in your life, did you bust your butt? When you learned how to play the piano, did you bust your butt? When you wanted to go on vacation, did you save for it? If you want nice teeth, do you brush your teeth? Why is this so hard for you? This is in relationship 101. 101. You're not willing to do the basics and then you complain? Stop fucking complaining if you're not going to be willing to do the work. By the way, this is a generalization. I'm yelling at everyone, but I want to shake you up. Is this sinking in? Please let me know by hitting that like button. All right, we're going to take one more question. Nobody got the trivia question. By the way, it was Cruel Intentions, by the way. And what I love about this movie, Sarah Michelle Gellar, by the way, this is the Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, Cruel Intentions. She goes, I don't fuck losers. I just thought that was one of my favorite lines in the movie. All right, we're going to take one last question. Wow, I can't believe how quickly an hour went by. Amy says, I can't have him over at my house. We've had the relationship talk. He says he's scared because of past bad relationships. So I guess I'm scared. Okay, so Amy, you've been in a 2-year relationship with him. He says, I'm scared to be in a relationship. All right. So I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Oh, here's a perfect analogy. There's a burglar in your house. A policeman comes over and says, "I'm scared. I don't want to deal with this." How would you feel about a policeman who says he's scared? Would you want him protecting your home? Let me reframe that. Let me make it a bodyguard. You've hired a bodyguard because you're a celebrity. But the bodyguard says, "Well, I'm really scared of people." So that means when the chips, when you really the chips count, he's not there for you. Why choose a man who says he's scared? Tell him, "You know what? Go fix your shit on your time. You don't get my vagina if you're scared. I only want men who are empowered." Ladies, stop giving your power away to men who say they're scared. Choose better men by becoming a great version of yourself, because you only choose those men because you don't value yourself most of the time. I'm not saying that about you, Amy. I'm just saying that's what's happening. You choose poor or you choose the wrong guy because you're not valuing yourself. Step into your sovereignty, step into your self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-love, and stop it. All right, listen, we've covered a lot tonight. Time for cocktail. It's happy hour. Is anyone joining me? Is anyone going to get an edible and join me? I hope so. These are some of the things you have to face with, is men who have childhood wounds and unhealed started. Then what business do you have being in relationship if you haven't healed your own stuff? So, and I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, not because I'm an angry person. I'm yelling because just like a child is about to touch fire, I'm here. I don't want you to step into the fire and burn yourself. In addition, I'm very parental. So this is the child. This is me being parental to you with that child. But I'm also your big brother. I don't want you to choose the wrong men over and over and over again. So these are some of the things you have to face with, is men who have childhood wounds and unhealed traumas. Okay, number 3. Oh, this is a big one. So, it's interesting. Here in the United States, less than 9% of the population makes over $100,000 a year. It's roughly 9% of the population makes over $100,000. I'm not a big fan of feminine energy. I'm more of a fan of empowered energy. You being in your powered sovereignty, being in your self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem. Take out the gender. Yes, you're a female. And yes, for example, I'm a male. But rather than put it on feminine and masculine, just say you're an empowered human being. This is why I highly recommend everybody reading my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? Because guess what? As I'm going to share pretty soon, you're going to find out that the vast majority of people don't really love themselves, truly love themselves, and are doing little or no work loving on themselves. And this is why, all the narratives that you're hearing, or even the John Gray that pheromones is what makes a relationship work, and it's biology and caveman stuff. That's a crock. Yes, these are all the temporary little things that make a relationship work. It's all the reverse psychology bullshit that makes a relationship temporarily enter in relationship. I want to teach everyone who's following my work the deeper things to be concerned about, the roots to building a healthy, happy, juicy, delicious relationship. Is this sinking in? Please let me know if it's sinking in by hitting that like button so I know it's sinking in. Okay, number 2. To you, attached to you. If you're not familiar with the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, this talks about love attachment style. And oftentimes what we assume is love is actually love attachment style. So definitely check out this book. By the way, all the books I have a question, you can do one of 2 things. You can hit that super chat and post a question in there. You can hit the super stick guy that he doesn't know what love is, but was telling me that he loved me. How do I get him to release what is love? Isn't that, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking. Oh, by the way, we have our trivia question. I'll do this in a second. But this is a perfect example. I don't know what love is, but I love you. I mean, to me, that's an emotionally immature guy who's talking out of his ass. His mouth is bigger than his stomach. Because if you don't know what love is, then how the fuck do you know? How can you love someone? Now, Mystique, what's most likely is he cares about you. There's no doubt about it. He genuinely cares about you, or he's attached to you. Attached to you. If you're not familiar with the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, this talks about love attachment style. And oftentimes what we assume is love is actually love attachment style. So definitely check out this book. By the way, all the books I recommend is in a link called Jonathan Recommend Books. Okay, so it's either love attachment or he's just immature. Amy says hi. Maria says, I hear you a lot better when you don't yell at us. Just okay. Low self-esteem, because the number one emotional health. All right, let's see. If you have a question, post the word question and then write it out. Hey, Kelly, sweetheart, thank you so much for joining. Many men have low self-esteem. Kelly is very correct. The average man and woman has very weak emotional skills. They have low self-esteem because the number one emotional health issue facing almost everyone is I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not likable. That's the majority of the population. This is why self-love is so hugely important, because it's short. In my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway, link below, is without a healthy self-love practice. Oh, did you hear me say the word practice? It's interesting. My book is a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. And the invitation is to spend 15 minutes to 1 hour a day in your personal development. Now, what's interesting is the average person spends about 1 to 2 minutes brushing their teeth, washing their face, taking a shower. They'll spend a half hour on personal grooming. And ladies, you'll spend up to an hour with makeup and dresses and all that. But you spend this is not a judgment, this is an observation. You spend about this much time in your emotional health, your emotional self-care. Can I tell you, emotional self-care is way more important than what eyelash, mascara you're going to put on, what lipstick you're going to put on, whatever, especially when you're meeting friends. Spend the time nurturing your soul, your inner spirit, because guess what? The antidote to inner suffering is self-love. And this is like a vaccination to emotional chaos. And if you're not investing 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, but you're willing to spend it in other areas, ask yourself then why, the definition of insanity. Well, I keep doing the same things over. Do I have armpit? Same things over and over again and expecting different results. I want you to start having different results by shifting the narrative. Am I making sense? Please let me know by hitting that like button. All right. Thank you, Penelope. I appreciate that. Jeanette, I've started dating a guy who has very low self-esteem, and it was very good that he shared this with me. Does he need to heal first before dating? Okay, this is a great question. Ladies, there's a difference between healed and healing, okay? We never get healed. Okay, we never really ever get healed. Maybe about 7 seconds before we die, we achieve full consciousness and full healing, and then boom, we're into the next realm. Okay, I'm a big believer that it's a whole different realm after this this experience, this human experience. I think our souls have a whole different realm. If you really want to read a great book, Gary Zukav, not his book. Not this book. Gary Zukav wrote a book called The Seat of the Soul. That is a great book to read to understand our soul's journey, okay? So I do believe we fully heal. So going back to your question, I believe that men who are healing their wounds, that are going to therapy, that are doing the personal development work, that are investing in introspective work on a regular basis, are okay candidates to date. Because whether it's you, me, or I'm in a healing journey. I haven't healed, probably happens 7 seconds before I die. I just made up that number, by the way. But it's the point is, it's not that you fully love yourself, is that you're loving yourself. It's not a destination, it's a journey. It's a process. Well, Steph said, I missed all the points except for the last one. Will you please go through them again really quickly? Okay, 5 secrets men hide. Number 1, most men don't know what commitment looks like because they're not marriage minded. Number 2, most men have childhood wounds and traumas, which is why it's hard for them to express their feelings. And it's also why they have a hard time leaning into the emotional responsibility of your feelings. Number 3, most men, the average man makes less than $100,000 a year. So the instinctual biological need of being a provider protector is butting up against their capacity to do that for someone else. Number 4, most men are winging it, because this is why they prefer casual relationships. And the 5th one is most men's mouths are bigger than their stomachs. This is why they get bloated in a relationship and they pull away, disappear, because they're not able to lean into something deeper. Is this resonating with you? Please let me know by hitting that like button. All right. Thank you, Steph. Jeanette says, can 2 anxious attachment style people be together?